Welcome to Queen's Videos. This channel is a special place where every video brings you new knowledge, entertainment, and exciting experiences. Here you will find informative content, engaging stories, and everything that sparks your curiosity. Our goal is to make every moment enjoyable, help you learn something new, and be a part of this growing family. So join us and start this wonderful journey today. The 1979 United States 5-cent coin, commonly referred to as the Jefferson Nickel, stands as a fascinating piece of American numismatic history that reflects not only the economic circumstances of its time but also the enduring legacy of the coin series introduced in 1938. This coin, minted over 4 decades ago, embodies a design that had by then already become a familiar and iconic element of everyday commerce in the United States. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and principal author of the Declaration of Independence, while the reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, which holds great architectural and historical significance. To fully appreciate the 1979 Jefferson Nickel, one must explore its design, production background, metallurgical composition, minting details, economic context, collector's significance, and its role in the broader timeline of U.S. coinage. The design of the 1979 nickel continued the tradition established by Felix Schlag, the German-born sculptor who won the design competition for the Jefferson Nickel in 1938. Schlag's original design was slightly modified over the years, but the essential elements remained intact: the profile of Jefferson on the obverse and the depiction of Monticello on the reverse. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait faces left, his hair tied in a queue, a style consistent with late 18th century fashion. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," frame his head, accompanied by the date, 1979. A small mint mark, indicating the location of the U.S. Mint facility where the coin was struck, appears to the right of the portrait, near Jefferson's ponytail. In 1979, 3 mint facilities produced the nickel: Philadelphia, No mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, primarily for proof coins. Each of these mints contributed to the overall mintage numbers for that year, which were substantial due to the nickel's wide use in commerce. Turning to the reverse of the coin, Monticello dominates the design with its neoclassical architectural style, complete with a domed roof, columns, and symmetrical facade. Above Monticello appears the word, e pluribus unum, the Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one, signifying the unity of the states. Beneath the structure, the name, Monticello, is inscribed, followed by, 5 cents, and, United States of America. This arrangement reflects the mid-20th century standards of U.S. coin design, which sought to balance national mottos, denominations, and artistic representation on relatively small canvases. The composition of the 1979 nickel remained unchanged from the alloy that had been standard since 1866, with the exception of the wartime nickels of 1942–1945. It is made of a cupronickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy gives the coin its distinctive silvery appearance while maintaining durability and resistance to corrosion. Each coin has a diameter of 21.2 mm, a thickness of 1.95 mm, and a weight of 5 grams. Unlike some other denominations, the nickel's composition was not significantly affected by the rising metal prices of the late 1970s, although the United States was experiencing considerable economic fluctuations during this period, including inflationary pressures following the oil crises. Earlier in the decade, mintage figures for the 1979 nickel were relatively high, reflecting the coin's essential role in commerce. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint D also contributed a massive quantity. The San Francisco Mint S produced proof versions intended for collectors, struck with specially polished dies on planchettes that were carefully handled to produce mirror-like finishes. These proof coins are particularly valued by collectors for their sharp details and high-quality strikes, especially those designated as cameo or deep cameo, when the contrast between frosted design elements and mirrored fields is pronounced. From a historical context, the 1979 Jefferson nickel circulated during a period of transition and challenge in the United States. The country was grappling with stagflation, high inflation coupled with stagnant economic growth, while also witnessing technological advancements and shifts in domestic and international policy. In terms of coinage, the late 1970s marked an era before the widespread introduction of the Susan B. Anthony dollar in the same year, 1979, and well before the redesign of the Jefferson nickel in 2004. Thus, the 1979 nickel represents a link between the post-war stability of mid-century coinage and the more modern, frequently changing designs of the 21st century. For collectors, the 1979 nickel is generally considered a common date within the Jefferson nickel series, especially in circulated condition. Billions of nickels from the 1970s remain in existence, and the 1979 issue does not contain any major minting anomalies that drastically increase its rarity. However, numismatists do seek out high-grade uncirculated examples, particularly those with full steps FS on Monticello. The full steps designation is given when the steps at the base of Monticello on the reverse are sharply struck and show complete separation, a sign of exceptional striking quality. Such coins can command premium prices in the numismatic market, especially those from the Philadelphia or Denver mints graded MS66 or higher by major grading services. Varieties and errors also play a role in the interest surrounding this coin. While no widely recognized major varieties exist for the 1979 nickel, unlike some earlier or later dates in the series, collectors sometimes find minor die errors, such as die clashes, off-center strikes, or doubled dies. These anomalies, while generally not extremely valuable, can attract attention from enthusiasts who enjoy the hunt for unique pieces within otherwise common issues. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint occasionally display striking anomalies or cameo contrasts that enhance their desirability. The condition and preservation of a 1979 nickel largely determines its numismatic value. Circulated coins, showing wear on Jefferson's hair, cheekbone, and Monticello's dome and steps, are usually worth face value, 5 cents. Uncirculated coins, stored carefully away from the abrasions of circulation, retain their original mint luster, a satin-like sheen caused by the flow of metal during striking. High-grade examples in mint state MS condition, particularly those graded MS66 or MS67, are far scarcer and more valuable. Proof coins, if kept in their original holders from the U.S. Mint, often retain deep mirrored surfaces that appeal strongly to collectors. Economically, the nickel has always occupied an interesting niche in U.S. coinage, worth more than a penny but less frequently hoarded than dimes, quarters, or half dollars. In 1979, 5 cents still had tangible purchasing power, equivalent to about 20 cents today when adjusted for inflation. A handful of nickels could buy a newspaper, a cup of coffee, or several pieces of candy. Thus, the 1979 nickel was an active participant in daily life, exchanged countless times in vending machines, grocery stores, gas stations, and banks across the country. From a cultural perspective, the Jefferson nickel had by 1979 become a quiet but persistent reminder of Thomas Jefferson's intellectual legacy, political achievements, and architectural contributions. Monticello, depicted on the reverse, is not merely a house but a symbol of Enlightenment ideals adapted to the American experiment, symmetry, rationality, and harmony with the surrounding landscape. Jefferson's image on the coin placed him in the company of other founding fathers memorialized in U.S. currency, such as Washington on the quarter and Lincoln on the penny. Internationally, U.S. nickels like the 1979 issue often found their way overseas through tourism, military deployment, and international trade, becoming small tokens of American commerce abroad. While not particularly rare, such coins sometimes intrigued foreign collectors due to their distinctive design and sturdy metallic composition, which differs from many lightweight or plated coins used in other nations during the same era. In the broader evolution of the Jefferson nickel series, the 1979 coin came during a period of long-term continuity. The series had seen no major design overhaul since its inception in 1938, except for minor refinements in the temporary wartime composition of 1942-1945. It would not be until 2004 and 2005 that the design would undergo significant change as part of the Westward Journey Nickel series, followed by a permanent redesign of Jefferson's portrait in 2006. Thus, the 1979 nickel serves as an enduring representative of the classic Jefferson design period. Legal tender status of the 1979 nickel remains in effect today, meaning it can still be used in commerce at its face value of 5 cents. However, the intrinsic metal value of its copper and nickel content fluctuates with commodity prices. In certain years, the melt value of a nickel has approached or even exceeded its face value, leading some to hoard them for potential future gains, though melting nickels for metal recovery is currently prohibited by U.S. law. For those engaged in numismatic study or coin collecting, the 1979 Jefferson nickel offers several avenues of exploration, from mint mark varieties and proof issues to strike quality, die states, and historical context. It is also a popular inclusion in date and mint mark sets, where collectors attempt to assemble one example from each year and mint of the series. Beginners often encounter the 1979 nickel in their pocket change, sparking an interest in the broader world of coins, while advanced collectors seek the finest known specimens for registry sets. The coin's longevity in circulation is noteworthy as well. Many 1979 nickels remain in use today, more than 4 decades after their minting, due to the durability of the cupronickel alloy. Unlike pennies, which often suffer heavy corrosion, or silver coins, which were withdrawn for their bullion value, the nickel's hardy metal blend ensures a long lifespan under normal handling conditions. Ultimately, the 1979 United States 5-cent coin represents more than just 5 cents of monetary value. It is a historical artifact, a miniature piece of art, and a window into the late 20th century American economy and culture. Whether encountered as a worn example in daily change, a gleaming uncirculated coin in a collector's album, or a mirror-like proof in a protective case, it continues to tell a story of American commerce, craftsmanship, and continuity. Next coin, the 1985 United States 5-cent coin, widely known as the Jefferson Nickel, represents an important part of the long-running Jefferson Nickel series that began in 1938 and continues to the present day, albeit with later design changes. The 1985 nickel belongs to the traditional era of the series, bearing the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous Monticello home on the reverse, a design created by Felix Schlag. By 1985, this design had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, and the coin served as an everyday workhorse of American commerce, carrying with it a blend of artistry, history, and practicality. The obverse of the 1985 nickel features the left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States 1801-1809, principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and a figure whose contributions to American democracy, architecture, and expansion through the Louisiana Purchase left an indelible mark on the nation. Around the portrait are inscriptions: "In God We Trust," positioned to the left along the rim, "Liberty," to the right followed by a 5-pointed star, and the date, 1985. Depending on where it was minted, a mint mark appears just below the date, next to Jefferson's ponytail. In 1985, 3 mints produced this coin: the Philadelphia Mint No mint mark, the Denver Mint D, and the San Francisco Mint S, which struck proof coins for collectors. The reverse of the coin showcases Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical mansion located in Charlottesville, Virginia, an enduring symbol of his architectural vision and Enlightenment-inspired ideals. The design depicts the building's iconic dome, columns, and balanced facade, with the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, arching above it. Below Monticello are the inscriptions, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, arranged in a structured and symmetrical format characteristic of mid-20th century American coinage. The coin's physical specifications mirror those of Jefferson Nickel struck since 1866, with the exception of wartime composition changes between 1942 and 1945. A cupronickel alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams, with a diameter of 21.2 mm and a thickness of 1.95 mm. This composition was chosen for its durability, resistance to corrosion, and suitability for vending machines and coin-operated devices, all of which relied heavily on nickels in the 1980s. The mintage of the 1985 Jefferson Nickel was substantial, as the 5-cent coin was a staple in everyday transactions. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint produced a similarly high number marked with D, and the San Francisco Mint created proof coins marked with S, using polished dies and specially treated planchettes to achieve a mirror-like finish with frosted design details. Proof nickels from this year are particularly sought by collectors for their sharp strikes and cameo contrasts, especially those graded as deep cameo (DCAM) by major grading services. While no silver content was present in the 1985 nickel, its intrinsic value derived from the copper and nickel metals, which during the mid-1980s experienced fluctuations in price, though not significant enough to prompt changes in coin composition. Economically, the United States in 1985 was experiencing a period of recovery and transformation. The early 1980s recession had passed, and the economy was expanding under policies associated with the Reagan administration. Inflation rates had stabilized compared to the tumultuous 1970s, and consumer confidence was rising. In this context, the nickel retained its purchasing power for small-scale transactions, vending machines, payphones, public transportation fares, and convenience store purchases all commonly involved the 5-cent coin. Adjusted for inflation, 5 cents in 1985 equates to roughly 13 cents in today's money, making the coin more valuable in real terms than its modern counterpart. From a numismatic perspective, the 1985 Jefferson Nickel is considered a common date coin, widely available in circulation and in uncirculated condition due to the high mintages. However, collectors seek coins in high grades, especially those with the full steps FS designation on the reverse. The full steps grade refers to the clarity and completeness of the steps at the base of Monticello, a notoriously difficult feature to strike perfectly because of die wear and striking pressure. A 1985 nickel with clearly defined, uninterrupted steps can command a significant premium in the numismatic market, particularly when graded MS66 or higher by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) or Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC). While circulated coins from this year generally hold only face value, uncirculated and proof coins with superior strike quality are of interest to registry set collectors who aim to assemble the finest known examples. Varieties and errors for the 1985 nickel are not as widely recognized as those for certain earlier years, but minor anomalies such as die cracks, die clashes, off-center strikes, and occasional doubling in inscriptions have been documented. These errors, while often subtle, add intrigue for collectors specializing in minting oddities. The design continuity of the 1985 nickel reflects a period of stability in U.S. coinage. The Jefferson Nickel series, with Schlag's design, had seen only minor adjustments since its debut, including slight modifications to Jefferson's portrait and lettering. It was not until the early 2000s that major redesigns were introduced through the Westward Journey Nickel series, 2004-2005, and the permanent portrait change in 2006. Thus, the 1985 nickel belongs to the long, classic, phase of the series, making it representative of late 20th century U.S. coinage traditions. Its legal tender status remains intact today, meaning it can still be used for transactions, although its metal content, copper and nickel, sometimes approaches its face value during periods of elevated commodity prices. Melting nickels for metal recovery is prohibited under current U.S. law to prevent widespread hoarding or destruction of circulating coinage. The cultural symbolism of the coin also merits reflection. Thomas Jefferson, as featured on the obverse, was a polymath, statesman, diplomat, architect, inventor, and philosopher. His inclusion on the 5-cent coin since 1938 represents both his historical importance and the enduring American tradition of honoring founding fathers on everyday currency. Monticello, on the reverse, is more than just a home, it is a representation of Jefferson's architectural genius, inspired by neoclassical principles, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site that continues to attract visitors from around the world. In 1985, this imagery served as a quiet reminder of the nation's Enlightenment roots, its commitment to Republican ideals, and its reverence for history amidst the technological and cultural changes of the late 20th century. The international circulation and recognition of the 1985 nickel, like most U.S. coinage, extended beyond American borders due to tourism, overseas military presence, and global trade. U.S. nickels frequently found their way into the hands of collectors abroad or remained as souvenirs for travelers, illustrating the wide reach of American currency even in small denominations. In terms of coin longevity, nickels from the mid-1980s are still commonly found in circulation today, thanks to the cupronickel alloy's resistance to corrosion and wear. Many coins from 1985 continue to pass through vending machines, banks, and cash registers, their surfaces bearing the marks of decades of use yet still fulfilling their intended function. From a collector's standpoint, assembling a set of Jefferson nickels including the 1985 issue offers a look into the economic and minting history of the late 20th century. For beginners, finding a 1985 nickel in pocket change might spark an interest in numismatics. For seasoned collectors, the challenge lies in sourcing pristine examples, proof coins with deep cameo contrast, or those elusive full steps varieties. The San Francisco Mint proof issues, in particular, remain attractive due to their limited mintage and superior strike quality, often encapsulated by grading services to preserve their condition. Historically, the year 1985 itself was marked by significant national and international events that formed the backdrop for this coin's circulation. In the United States, 1985 saw the continuation of Cold War dynamics, the beginning of Mikhail Gorbachev's leadership in the Soviet Union, advances in personal computing and technology, and cultural milestones in music, film, and sports. While these events may not directly influence the nickel's design, they form part of its historical setting, connecting a small 5-cent coin to the broader currents of the time. Over the decades, the 1985 Jefferson nickel has become a snapshot of an era. The alloy, the artistry, the high mintage reflective of an expanding consumer economy, and the enduring symbols of Jefferson and Monticello frozen in metal. Its value as a collector's item depends largely on grade and condition rather than rarity, but its presence in albums, proof sets, and circulation hoards across the country ensures it remains an accessible and educational piece of U.S. numismatic history.